David, what is consciousness?
Consciousness, the thing that flickers to life when you wake up in the morning, that's the smallest bit of what's happening in the brain. It's something that rides on top of a massive amount of machinery. It's successive levels of abstraction of all that machinery running underneath. So you've got very basic things, like when I lift a coffee to my mouth, there's a whole lightning storm of neural activity that underpins that act. I'm not aware of any of that in my consciousness because I don't want to be. All I want is a very high-level abstract representation, which is, am I succeeding or am I spilling it on myself? That's all I want to know. Consciousness is like the CEO of a company. So if you think of a massive company with 100,000 employees, the job of the CEO is to sort of do the long-term vision planning and think about where the company's going and so on. Exactly the same with consciousness. If all my motor actions, if everything's going as expected, I don't even have to be very conscious. If I'm driving home from work and it's a drive I've made every day, I'm almost a zombie. It's only when something surprising happens that the CEO has to sit up and say, okay, what's going on, and start searching through the system to figure out how to steer things. When you look at the CEO of a company, he or she gets credit for sort of making the decisions of the company, but there's a very real sense in which he or she is tied into the company. The CEO can't make some completely radical departure from the core competency of the company, right? The CEO feels like, okay, I've got free will, but he doesn't actually. What is it that steers our behavior? It's what we think of as the conscious mind and all the unconscious machinery. They're tied in as one big system with all sorts of loopy feedback.
Giving you that, they're really two separate issues though. One is behavior, the other is what it feels like inside, because we can easily imagine a behavioral system to work exactly as you said, that is purely mechanical, purely robotic, nothing inside, the so-called philosophical zombie.
In fact, most of our behaviors are exactly that. And not only what you do, but also what you believe, what you think, how you act. All the stuff is generated by parts of the machinery we don't even have access to. Now, your other question is, why does it feel like something? That we don't know. And not only do we not have a theory of that, but we don't know what such a theory would even look like.
Right.
Because nothing in our modern mathematics says, okay, well, do a triple integral and carry the 2, and then here's the taste of feta cheese. Of course, people are searching for the neural correlates of consciousness because we say, hey, this set of Christmas tree lights up when you're conscious of this or that, but it still leaves us feeling quite empty as far as why it feels that way.
And the fundamental philosophical question, can Christmas lights lighting up in the brain ever be about something or have a content feel to it?
Right. I don't see how. Now, that is either A, a limitation of my imagination, or B, what it tells us is that, although materialism is sort of what's taken for granted in the field, meaning that we can take all the pieces and parts of the brain and put them together in this vast, complicated network and get consciousness, it might mean materialism is wrong. We don't actually know for certain. Now, the reason neuroscientists generally subscribe to materialism, and the reason we go into lab every day and act as though it's true, is because we have a million examples where if you damage the brain, that changes the person, it changes their conscious state, right? So there's this irrevocable relationship between the biology and conscious state. But that doesn't actually mean materialism has to be true. There are alternative theories that could be the case. I'm not saying I subscribe to these theories, but let me just say agnostically that it is perfectly possible.